Hello. So today we are still unpacking our hashtag with grace, grit, and gumption. Now, we all know that life does not usually follow the script that we plan for it or imagine it would. We face seasons of struggle and stretching. We have moments that test our strength, that challenge our peace, and really that leave us searching for something consistent and sturdy. And those times that are most difficult many times humble us, but they can also reveal who we are truly holding on to and who is holding on to us. Life with God is not just about running to Him in the times of struggle when we're trying to survive them. It's about walking through them and through the rest of life with His power and His purpose and His peace. And grace, grit, and gumption help us do just that. Grace empowers and sustains us. Grit endures and steadies us. And gumption emboldens us and stirs us into bold obedience. But these three don't only operate independently of each other. They can work together like a braided cord woven together in our daily faith walk. Together, they can help shape our identity and equip us as we are becoming all that God created us to be. Life happens. Sometimes it happens to us, sometimes around us, and if we're honest, sometimes it happens because of us. So as Jesus followers, how do we tap into this braided cord of strength to navigate it all? Well, we've talked a lot about seeking Jesus first, not second, not last, but first. That means reading His Word, practicing what He teaches, and learning how to hear His voice and discern that voice above all the other noise happening all around us in our lives. We won't stumble into spiritual strength. It takes intention. Grace, grit, and gumption are like spiritual muscles. We have to use them to build them. And the more we stretch them, the more they grow. And then, of course, as we seek Jesus in all things, He can then use all things to grow us. But we have to choose growth. You've probably heard the phrase, if you're not growing, you're dying. That's a little dramatic for me and maybe a little harsh. So I want to soften it a little bit. Maybe you remember me talking about something I heard one time, that if you're coasting, you are usually going downhill. Sure, that's easier, seemingly, to be coasting downhill. It takes less effort, but ease doesn't equal progress. When there's no forward motion, when there's no forward progress, there's no growth, then we are possibly coasting. And when we choose to coast and we stop being intentional in our lives and with our choices, then many times we can find ourselves drifting, sometimes drifting off course, sometimes even losing ground, or maybe even going backwards. So let's choose growth. Let's be the intentional kind of people who show up and who seek Jesus first in all things. That is how we access that cord of strength that Jesus offers us, that continues to help us on our journey of becoming all He created us to be. So what does this look like? How do we build these spiritual muscles? How do we grow grace, grit, and gumption? I'm glad you asked. Grace empowers and sustains us. God's grace is a great starting point. His unearned, unwavering love that meets us in our weakness. It doesn't just rescue us, it is fully sufficient. Remember, when we are weak, we are strong because of who we are in Jesus, our identity in Jesus. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Grace grows in the gaps. When we realize we are not enough and that Jesus is. Grace grows in the giving. When we have received the grace from Jesus, we can then give it. We can grow as we extend it to others and to ourselves. Grace grows in the grieving. His grace meets us in our disappointments, in our sorrows, in our devastations, in our losses, and it sustains us and carries us gently. Grace grows in the grounding. It grows as we root ourselves in our identity, in God's truth, and in Jesus. Grit endures and steadies us. It's the quiet, holy resilience to continue moving forward along our path, even when it's lonely and quiet and unclear. It carries us through the unknown. Hebrews 11:8 says, "It was by faith that Abraham obeyed when God called him to leave home and go to another land that God would give him as an inheritance. He went without knowing where he was going." Grit grows in the gaps when we are waiting and persevering between God's promises and the fulfillment. Grit grows in the grind, in the daily, hard, and holy work through the difficult seasons. Grit grows in the groaning, in those seasons where we are waiting and enduring, and when we're weary and fatigued, waiting on Him. Grit grows in the gravel, the rough and imperfect roads, the quiet and lonely paths that we choose to walk, trusting that faithfulness is better than ease. Gumption emboldens us and stirs us. It gives us the courage and the confidence to step forward in faith and in obedience. Joshua 1:9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Gumption grows in the gaps between knowing and going, between faith and fear, between hearing God's voice and having the guts to follow it. Gumption grows in the God confidence, not the self-confidence, but when we learn to trust in Him because of who we are through Him, our identity in Jesus. Gumption grows in the gathering, when we surround ourselves with godly people and in godly environments, influences, and voices. Gumption grows in the grooves, along the journey as we find our rhythm and keep showing up in obedience, even when we don't feel like it or see the whole picture. Growth isn't always obvious. It doesn't usually feel flashy or exciting, and usually it doesn't happen fast enough. Most of the time, it's simple, small, faithful steps. Choosing Jesus again and again in those quiet and unseen moments. Growth happens incrementally, not all at once, not overnight, but in the gaps, in the grooves, in the gravel, in the grind, in all of those places. And Jesus is in every single one of them with us. So today I challenge us to choose growth, to continue showing up in faith. I pray we seek Him first, we trust Him fully, we follow Him faithfully, and we obey Him boldly. I pray that we remember that this kind of growth isn't just shaping our character, but also our identity in Jesus. It's about God fulfilling His promises within us. And in those moments where we might not feel Jesus next to us, I pray that we stand firm in who we are in Christ, knowing that He is still right next to us every step of the way, in every gap, empowering us, helping us endure, and emboldening us as we become all He designed us to be. Thanks for being on this journey with me. I hope you have a great rest of your day.